Now, do you believe in God?
God is an ideology. A man just imprint on his own self. God don't exist. My mother is totally against what I'm saying because women are emotional beings. And I don't even have issue with that because church is actually built for women. I am not just an antichrist. I am anti-white man culture. That is, I am anti every culture that was imposed on the white people that actually lead the people to extermination.
So you don't pray. Since you don't believe in God, you don't pray.
No, yeah, actually, the whole of Igbo people don't pray. Nobody in Igbo land pray in the olden days. What we make is decree. It go for. I've stopped many people from going to church and coming to reasoning. Starting from my roommate. My roommate is the son of an Anglican priest. Yes. So when I started the message, my roommate was my highest enemy. When you speak and a crowd of people is clapping for you, it means that you have not begun to touch the real places where the people are caged. So I got admission. I've been the person training myself in school, and that's why I have freedom of expression. Because if my parents are the one who is financing my education, they will limit the things I will say on media. Otherwise, they will take off their hands from my sponsorship.
Do you pour libation?
I don't pour any libation to anything. Remember, I told you I'm a free man. If I told you I'm a free man, that means I don't believe. The meaning of belief is that you are too proud to accept that you don't know.
Are you a Christian before?
I was a passionate Christian that has been transporting myself from lodges to lodges and telling people to give their life to Christ.
All right, it's your boy Uncle J Comedy, and I'm here with
Ihedi, light of Africa.
What's your real name?
Ihedi, Ihedi, that's my real name.
Ah,
That Ihedi means light exists.
wow.
Yes.
Okay, Ihedi. Viewers, if you are familiar with my page, you will notice that I've posted this guy more than 3 times, and so many of the comment sections were like, he's an antichrist. They're insulting him. They insult hell out of you. So that's why I say, let me meet with this guy to know if actually you are trying to create content to go viral or trying to chase clout with all those things you are saying, or maybe you really meant what you are saying. So that's my purpose of coming here. But let's take it step by step. Are you an antichrist, as people say?
I am not just an antichrist. I am anti-white man culture. That is, I am anti every culture that was imposed on the white people that actually lead the people to extermination. That is both the culture of the Christianity, the Christ inclusive. I'm equally against the education system. I'm equally against the democratic system. I'm equally against the employment system, the rulership system, the family system. So all those systems or all those cultures that we are introduced or imposed on us by the white man is what we are totally against. So not just Christ. Christ is part of the things we are anti. To be anti against something means to be against something. That means if they call you an antichrist, it means you are against Christ.
Yes.
So I'm antichrist, I'm anti-educational system, I'm anti-monogamy, I'm anti-democratic system, I'm anti our technological system of life. So all these things is the things we are anti, not just antichrist. Thank you so much.
You speak a lot of grammar, monogamy, and the others, rest of them.
Yes.
Okay, when you were saying this, so many things you are against. You mentioned about education, but I discovered that I met you in a classroom in Unizik, Oka here. So that is to say that you are a student,
Yes,
but you are against educational system.
Thank you so much. I'm a student and I am against educational system. Does not mean that I want the total destruction of the education system. What I want is a restructuring of the educational system to transform the educational system to become productive. That food is good, but there is a way that you will cook food. It will become dangerous or harmful to your body. So the assignment is to prepare the food in a way that it enters into your body and it will nourish your body system, not becoming harmful to your system. For the fact that we have education system that promotes memory and destroy reasoning is the reason why I said I'm against our education system. I'm not against it, meaning that I want it to be destroyed. I want it to be restructured to have functional knowledge. Functional knowledge means knowledge that can be applied in the system. That means a situation by which we have engineers, and civil engineers can now construct our road and build our bridges. A situation by which we have pharmacists. Pharmacists will begin to manufacture our drug, no longer selling drugs from India. A situation by which we have chemical engineering students who will provide all the axes that we are using to produce both everything. Understand? So our education system will originate from productivity. A situation by which the white man is building car and our own engineers are building car. No longer a situation by which people are boastful of memory knowledge that have no application. So we end up being graduate that goes to look for jobs instead of becoming an avalanche of dispensing job. So I need education system restructured, not abolished. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay, for it to be restructured. Okay, I got your point.
Yes.
Okay, now before you started all this should I say agitation or trying to enlighten our your followers to be more face reality more than using their time to focus on praying and fasting and all those religious things. Before you started that kind of movement,
Yes.
were you a Christian before?
I was a passionate Christian that has been transporting myself from lodges to lodges and telling people to give their life to Christ. And I have actually sold my heart and my soul to everything that have to do with Christianity. But you know that consequences of defending error provide understanding. And that we are moving in the wrong direction does not mean that when you come to self-consciousness, that you will not turn around. That is the proof of growth. As a child is growing, there are things that the child is doing that the child will begin to leave behind. For instance, playing with sound, cooking children's food. As the child is coming to maturity, the child begins to abandon those. That means he's now growing. But the goal of Christianity is to keep you a permanent infant. You must be born again. Because once you have the mindset of a baby, you can be controlled and remain a permanent Christian. So the difference then and now is that I have grown. I've come to maturity. So the things I did those time are now looking like childish and stupid things. And so we now put on the garment to correct the error we did, and now lay down the pathway for a future generation that is going to come, which will not be dependent on prayer, but dependent on life process. Thank you so much.
Okay, so many people made mention of maybe it's because of the kind of church you attended that made you maybe they were not doing things the right way. That's why you try to deviate from that Christianity to as in you don't even have religion now.
Yeah. Religion?
You don't have what can I how can I describe you? Atheist or
I'm just a free man. I'm not
okay, a free man.
Yes, I'm just a free man.
Okay, but can you tell me which church do you attend before?
I attended many churches. I was
Your
born.
family?
I was born in Methodist church.
Okay,
So
Methodist.
I grew. That's why if you watch my videos, I always sing hymn book.
Methodist.
Then from Methodist church, I went to many churches like this Ibiome own. What do they call it now? Salvation Ministry. And so when we come into, we go to Feka, we come all these churches. So it's not about one church. We have entered deep into it and understand that this is just a pure word of a colonialist to the colony to control the people. Yes.
Okay. Right now you are in school. Are you the one training yourself, or your family members are helping?
Since I got admission, I've been the person training myself in school. And that's why I have freedom of expression. Because if my parents are the one who is financing my education, they will limit the things I will say on media. Otherwise, they will take off their hands from my sponsorship. So for the fact that I speak on media and nobody can shut me down means I'm taking responsibility. The man who feed the dog will always tell the dog where to go and where not to go. So I have my freedom of speech because I'm independent financially.
Okay. That is the reason why I asked you that question, because I wanted to ask you how about your family. Are they okay with you the way you talk against Christianity or all this white man religion, as you say? That's why I asked you, are you the one training yourself? Because I know if they are against what you are saying, they will remove their hand from whatever you are doing.
Yes, actually, in my family, my mother is totally against what I'm saying because women are emotional beings. And I don't even have issue with that because church is actually built for women. Yes, church is actually a place built for noisy and emotional beings who doesn't base on logic. Because a man is based on logic and principle.
Yeah.
So when I became awakened and begin to preach awakening, what it does is that it begins to disconnect that relationship that exists between me and my mother. But at a particular time, I succeed in bringing all my brothers and my sister to this light and illumination. So if my mother is now to fight me, that means she will now be fighting all her kids. So she is now she's now adapting to the new technology of light. Light cannot be questioned. You can defend error and win, but you cannot defend the consequences of defending error. So when she now see that the things we are speaking is not based on emotion, she's now conforming to light gradually. That's it.
Okay, now, as you an agent of liberation, as you say,
Okay.
do you pour libation?
Now, I don't pour any libation to anything. Remember, I told you I'm a free man. If I told you I'm a free man, that means I don't believe.
Okay, can you tell us the meaning? That's the full, maybe etymology of belief, or the full meaning of belief.
The meaning of belief is that you are too proud to accept that you don't know. Things you don't know. Anything you don't know, and you are too proud to accept that I don't know it, you now introduce belief to replace your lack of know. For instance, you have a daughter, and somebody comes into your house. If you meet your wife and tell your wife, I believe this girl is my daughter, you have a problem with your wife, and they question a dialogue, because I believe means I'm not certain I'm the owner of this child. Belief means doubt. Things you don't believe, things you don't know, that's what you believe. Your wife wants you to say, I know this is my child. That means anytime you are saying no, it means certainty. 1 + 1 is 2. I don't believe it is 2. But if you tell me that 1 + 1 is 1,000, and by my own mathematical equation, I can't phantom it, you will now tell me, believe it so. So belief means the place my understanding stop, I will now replace it with belief. That means my rigidity, the proud, the ego in me to accept that I don't know this. I don't need to believe that your clothes is red because I'm seeing it's red. But if you want to tell me that this your clothes is black, you now persuade me into belief. That means belief is actually crucifying my own logical ability of senses. So for the fact that you believe in God, not know God, it's already enough proof that God is a limitation or a replacement of lack of your understanding. The exact place your knowledge stops, that's where God starts. So you don't know God, you believe in God. God is a figment of a poor man. Yes.
Okay, now, do you believe in God?
God is an ideology. A man just imprint on his own self. God don't exist.
Okay, now, if I say, like our brethren used to say, I am a believer.
Okay.
To your own understanding, what is that person trying to say?
That means you are a believer, means you have sold your sense of reasoning and logic on life, and you have become somebody that can accept anything without evidence. That means if somebody bring water now and tell you that water is a kerosene and say this is what God says, you will now say yes. Because you are a believer, you will believe. Because in this believer now, a man can bring a dog and tell you that dog is now a goat, and you're now telling the person, why is dog a goat? The person says that is what God says, and let God be true and all man be a liar. So believer means you have taken the certificate of accepting nonsense without verification.
Okay, now you said you don't believe in God.
I don't
right now.
believe-
That means if I'm to classify your type of belief, you are going in line with atheists. Abi?
It's
Yes,
not my type of belief. I don't believe.
Okay,
I
sorry.
know that God don't exist. The word belief is an enemy of my own senses. Yes.
Okay.
The people that we actually engineer technology are not believers. Yes. And our ancestors did not believe. Our ancestors know. They didn't believe.
Okay. Now, I believe so many of your co-students, they are seeing your videos online.
Yes.
How did they react towards it? As in seeing you physically sit down with them in the same classroom? Because so many people see you as devil and rest of them. How do you see it? Is there any challenges you face about this?
A man who wants to engineer change must first of all make up his mind to accept resistance. When you speak and a crowd of people is clapping for you, it means that you have not begun to touch the real places where the people are caged. Just like a man that have dislocation of bone, and
Yes.
you take the person to an orthopedic, if orthopedian is massaging the person and the person is not shouting, it means you have not touched where the bone dislocated. So when you touch where the bone dislocates, the person will shout. So shouting is a function that you are beginning to touch where the people's problem are. So in my classmates, the joy of preaching awakening is resistance among them. So you get enmity, you get people that are coming there to share knowledge with you. But as you are pressing and in your consistency, you will discover that people are beginning to resonate to light. And sometimes they will not resonate to light now because 50% of them is still under the mentorship and caring of their parents.
Yes.
And so when they are hungry, they call their parents for food. When they need health, they call their parents for medicals. When they need everything, education, their parents are financing them. In 2 to 3 years' time, when we must have graduated from this school, they will now go out and face life. In practical senses, they will begin to now see the consequences of those errors they were defending. And now, by consequences produces understanding. They will begin to rejuvenate. They will now remember the voice of Light of Africa sounding in the wilderness in Unizik. That's when they will now begin to see. So you don't expect all of them to accept the ideology now. They will defend error. Many of the ladies will get married to a monogamous woman and get divorced. They will carry 2, 3 children and begin to struggle with the child. They will now remember there was a young guy shouting polygamy in Unizik. Many of the young guys will come out and will be struggling to feed. I'm telling you the honest truth. Many graduates are full of Bet Naija shop. And now they will now discover that there was Light of Africa that was saying that Jesus Christ don't give people job and prosperity. That's what prospers men is factory. Now, this one is consequences. Many of them, their parents will get health issues like kidney or this normal thing. And now they will now discover that the cost of doing kidney transplant in India is $17,000 after you finish processing for visa. That's 20-something million naira. And when they don't have it, they will now remember there was Light of Africa that was telling them that Jesus Christ don't heal sickness. I don't care about people winning an argument. You can win an argument comfortably, but you can't win the consequences of winning the argument because consequences is inevitable. So by virtue of consequences, time will always validate the sincerity of what we preach. So it will take them time to gravitate to the light which I'm administering. Yes.
Okay. Have you been able to convince some of your
It's not so many. In fact, starting from my Lord where I'm living. Yes, I have stopped many people from going to church and coming to reasoning. Starting from my roommate. My roommate is the son of an Anglican priest. Yes. So when I started the message, my roommate was my highest enemy. Hold phone and video me. The guy who says no is against his conscience. So I have to go and buy a ring light so that I will no longer be needing him to video me.
Yes.
And then as we are going, the last born, the smallest girl in her house now developed brain tumor. Water was resting in her head. They took her to hospital. The hospital says it's 1 million for treatment to operate on her and remove the water. The father prayed and all of that, and the young lady is still about dying. Now I begin to tell the girl that my friend, that do you know that in America that no child gets sick, and if the parents refuse to take the child to hospital, they will come and arrest the parents for child abuse. Medicals is free from infant to eldest man. If you are sick, go for free medical. And that you have been given Jesus Christ as a healer in your nation. When consequences met my roommate is now the person that is going to tell people that Jesus Christ don't heal sickness. So he's equally creating enemy in his own department. The joy is the resistance, but actually we are making impact and we are convincing people. We are not even convinced. To convince means to persuade somebody to believe in things. But when you provide facts to people, you don't need conviction.
Yes.
The difference between conviction is that conviction, when people want to convince you, they can convince you to believe anything. Convince and believe is the same thing. For instance, somebody can begin to convince you that P2B is the president of Nigeria. And through some empirical evidences, you can believe.
Yes.
But that is not fact. Fact is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president. It doesn't require conviction. Fact is independent of conviction. So every man is entitled to his own opinion. But every man is not entitled to his own fact. Fact doesn't respect conviction. So what I provide for my cosmate is not conviction. I don't come to convince. I lay facts. Consequences will gravitate the fact to know that I'm taking facts. That's it. Yes.
All right. So, because I keep on thinking, this thing is running on my head now. Okay. So you don't pray. Since you don't believe in God, you don't pray.
No, yeah, actually, the whole of Igbo people don't pray. Nobody in Igbo land pray in the olden days. What we make is decree. It go for. That is what we do. E-govern means to speak what you want to happen and work in alignment to make it happen. But to pray means to ask for help. When you are reading the Bible, you see what it says, I pray thee. I pray thee means I beg you. Igbos are not beggars. A prayer warrior is a beggar warrior. So we don't pray. We actually decree the things we want to do and we implement it with action.
Pause there.
Thank you so much.
Decree.
Thank you so much.
Though that Igbo tradition you used to you referred as the decree.
Yes.
They made reference to maybe their ancestors.
Thank you.
Onyowa.
Yes.
Onyowa, Chim.
Yes.
All those things.
Yes.
Or maybe they even refer to one of the deities in their community to make that decree.
Yes.
And the Christians and the Muslims, they refer to Allah or God to make their own decree or prayers. So you now, you don't believe in God. You don't believe in idol. What is it called? It's not idol now.
Deity system.
Deity, yes. So if you want to make your own decree now, what are you using?
I speak what I want to happen and I go after it because I know that it is not actually in the spoken words, but in my action. Look, there is no spoken word that you will speak that will make yam you plant in the under the ground to grow within 3 days. So when you plant your yam, what you are there to tell the yam is yam grow. Yam grow, you are talking a spoken word. You know this yam is definitely going to stay in the ground in alignment with time. And the time is going to come, you are going to bring a bamboo to guard the texturance. And all the work you'll be doing there is to make the yam to grow. It's not in spoken words. When bomb land in a nation or in a village, it doesn't care what you believe or what you don't believe. If atomic nuclear land in your village, any person within that vicinity is squandered. That's how life works. So I don't believe much. I don't believe at all in anything prayer. I believe in your process. Your process. So I'm not a fan of prayer.
Okay.